Let's look at a word problem from section 5.2, which again involves linear systems of equations in three variables. So what we have is Marita invested a total of $25,000 in stocks, bonds, and a mutual fund. In 1 year, she earned 8% on her stock investment, 10% on her bond investment, and 6% on her mutual fund, with a total return of $1,860. Unfortunately, the amount invested in the mutual fund was twice as large as the amount she invested in the bonds. How much did she invest in each? So the unknowns, remember it's a word problem, so we want to identify the unknowns, right, is the amount invested in stocks, why don't we call that S? The amount invested in bonds, why don't we call that B? And then, of course, we have the amount invested in the mutual fund. We'll call that M. Notice how we're using letters that help us remember what they represent. And it's important to realize that they're telling us she invested a total of $25,000. So what that does is it actually gives us one equation. We know S plus B plus M equals $25,000. And they're telling us the rate of return on each investment and the total return. So there's something you need to know from a previous course or this knowledge of investments. The interest, I stands for interest, is equal to PRT. Remember, I is equal to PRT? So in this case, T is actually 1 because it's 1 year. And the total interest earned is $1,860. And the principal, well, that's the amount invested in each investment. So, remember, I is equal to PRT. We're going to add up the interest on all three of them, and that gives us 1,860. So, for the stocks, what was the rate of return? 8%. So how do we write 8% as a decimal? Well, it's 0.08. 0.08 S. How much did we earn on the bond investment? 10%. What about the mutual fund? That's only 6%. So again, this has to add up to 1,860. So remember, there are three things we're looking for, S, M, and B. We really need three equations, but we have another piece of information here. Unfortunately, the amount invested in the mutual fund was twice as much as the amount invested in the bonds. So we need to translate that sentence to an equation. So we read it again. The amount invested in the bond fund is in the mutual fund is twice the amount she invested in the bonds. So if you know how much she invested in bonds, twice that is the amount in the mutual fund. So what that means is the amount invested in the mutual fund is twice the amount invested in the bond. So what we have now is a linear system of equations in three variables. So now what we will have to do on the next video is we will have to solve for S, M, and B. So take a minute or two and try to come up with a result, and on the next video we will actually solve for S, M, and B.